All right, let's get this going.
Oh shit! I thought we were recording already.
No. All right, everybody, welcome to an all new episode of Figure It Out. This is the show where we will be breaking down our thoughts on, figures from the past, present, future, that we enjoy as we break down different topics along the way. Also, welcoming to this episode, Joel. What's going on, Joel?
What's going on, fellas?
I love that. I mean, I've been over your house a million times, but I still see those posters behind you, and I'm just like, I love them. I love them so much.
Yeah. I got them around.
I was gonna say the best one is definitely your BVS one. Like that one is just oof, right. Such a classic. But also my running mate Pete. What's going on, Pete?
What's up, buddy? What's going on? Happy to be here.
Absolutely. I am really excited to talk toys. Jaydee will be joining us. No one freak out. He will be right back in. A little bit of technical issues, but he'll be right back in. So we're going to get this kicked off. We're going to start with talking about our favorite figures from when we were growing up. I'll kick this off here. When I was growing up, I don't remember there being really like big time toys. Like to me, it was the Beast Wars Transformers were big around that time. Really, McDonald's, their Happy Meal toys were hitting. They were slapping. So it's just like, did you get the toy from McDonald's? Yeah, I got it. All right. But I would say my favorite was definitely anything that came out around Phantom Menace, Star Wars wise. Anything Darth Maul. Anything Darth Maul that came out. We had a piggy bank. A dual piggy bank. So it was Obi-Wan on one side and Darth Maul on the other. And each time you put a coin in, they would activate and start fighting. With the Duel of Fates that would play in the background. I easily ran that thing out like within like a month. But that was definitely one of my favorites. Also, very weirdly, two toys were my all-time favorite. One of them makes me a hypocrite. The other one is just weird. So the weird one was my aunt had bought the Mystery Machine set.
Yeah.
Jaydee, I'm gonna go right to you after I finish. I'm gonna go right to you. My aunt bought this Mystery Machine set. So it was the van, and it came with the whole team: Scooby, Shaggy, Fred, Velma, Daphne. And I loved that shit. Like I loved it. They were fully posable. You could open the van from the two doors, the sliding door, and then in the back. So I love that. But the other one that makes me a hypocrite was, and Joel made fun of me about it. My mom one year when I was like 8 or 9 maybe bought me a Legend of Zelda pack. It was fully posable. Link came with a horse and a sword and a shield, and it was whatever the bad guy's name is.
Ganondorf, yeah.
Yes. I cherish that. I had that for forever till I moved up to New Jersey. But the reason why I said it makes me a hypocrite was I didn't know who the fuck those characters were. I'd never played any of the games, so I'm just like, oh, these look really cool. And I remember I went through all of my life not having any idea who the hell any of them were. But those are my definitely two biggest prized possessions: the Legend of Zelda 2-pack set, and then the Mystery Machine that came with the whole team. So those are definitely the two biggest ones for me. I was saying, Jaydee, how mid to late 90s was really, me growing up, and it just wasn't, to me, that I know of, any real big toys that really came out around that point that I knew of. So, things like that Zelda pack and the Mystery Machine is what caught me. In McDonald's, whatever their Happy Meal toys were is what caught me. But Jaydee, we lost you as you were breaking down your Captain America point. So I want to welcome you, and I want you to go into your introduction to your favorite figures, and then your Captain America story.
Okay. So should I start?
Absolutely.
All right. So I'm a bit older than everybody else here on the panel, and growing up, one of my favorite toys was this inflatable Rage Cage Hulk action figure. Had a little nozzle on the back where you could pump air into him, and you apply a straight jacket to him, and as he fills up, he busts through the straight jacket, he busts through the cage. I'm not sure if they were along with this line, but there was a stiff Captain America figure with his arm straight up, and you wound up his shield, and that was the only moving part on the whole figure. And then the Spider-Man from that era, again, he was a big, stiff Spider-Man, but he had a light that shined out of his belt, and you were able to attach him to a helicopter. So those were really big for me when I was a kid. I mean, early on, those were early 80s figures and stuff like that. But in the mid 80s, one of the best lines that came out was Kenner's Superpowers line. And if anybody remembers the Kenner Superpowers line, you had figures like Superman, Batman, Batmobile. Sure, Pete has them, right? They all had action features. You had Wonder Woman. You had Green Lantern, right? I don't know if these were the first representations of these figures, because Mego did a lot of superhero figures. They had both the DC and Marvel lines. But in parallel, coming out at the same time as those Kenner Superpowers figures, were the Secret Wars line. So Marvel had a tie-in comic, and you had Spider-Man, you had Wolverine, you had Doctor Doom, and honestly, they had one of the best play sets, which was the Tower of Doom. Back then, I don't think you were paying more than $10 for this play set, and the figures were like $2 or $3 each. And each one came with a shield that had a lenticular image that would change as you change your perspective on the shield. So those two lines were really huge for me in the superhero arena. But other than that, I was a G.I. Joe kid. And if you grew up in the 80s, you were either Joe or Transformers. Some people were both, but not everybody could afford both. G.I. Joe was the line. You had, I think by the end of it, maybe 500 releases of these figures. And, you had some units like that very first Cobra Commander sold over 200,000 figures. So the people that bought into that had to go somewhere, Yeah.
Did you ever have any of the vehicles, Jaydee, for G.I. Joe?
Yes. Growing up, I had the small things that you can afford, like the Polar Battle Bear, which was a ski sled, with tracks on the back of it. Cobra Fang. There was a really cool G.I. Joe and Cobra hang glider, which was pretty much foam core with some hard plastic tips on the end of it to give it some weight, which you can actually attach the figure to it and just toss them across the lawn. If you had that, I had the Cobra Rattler, the Sky Striker. That name plays big with me because one of the characters that I developed in the line of comics I write, his name is Star Striker. So his name is an evolution of that thing that grew up. It wasn't until I guess eBay came out that I was able to buy some of the bigger things that I never really got a hand of, like the first G.I. Joe headquarters, the Terradrome, stuff like that. But I got lucky. No, I did have quite a few vehicles. I had the Tomahawk, which was a double-bladed helicopter, the Mobile Command Center, which was that 3-level tank. So I got lucky. I got lucky with being able to get vehicles.
Yeah, I asked that because the only vehicle I ever had as a kid growing up was when that animated Ninja Turtles movie came out.
Okay.
The whatever they called it, the truck or whatever that Donatello built. That was
okay. Party wagon.
Say it again, Pete.
Party wagon.
Yes, that was the first time I had ever had a vehicle, and I remember that thing was massive, and you could fit the turtles in there, and it was like room for them to do whatever inside of it. I held that thing dear, and then I remember I blinked, and then it was just gone. Like I don't know what happened to that thing. But yeah, I didn't have many vehicles, so I was just curious. So that's really dope. I now collect all the vehicles I possibly can to make up for it. But
I don't got space. I wish.
I barely have space now. Like I just started this very weirdly. Just started this Power Rangers kick. So I just bought like 6. I have 2 more on the way of the lightning collection.
Oh, the Hasbro stuff. They're great.
Yeah.
Love
that. Like I got 3 of the SPD. I got Lord Zed. I got what was Lord Zed's henchman? Goldar. I got Goldar. Okay. I have 2 Dino Thunder Rangers coming. So I've been on a weird kick with that. I don't know why. I think Trayvon that joined our Marvel Cinematic Review show, he's big into Power Rangers, and he mentioned it once, and I was just like, yeah, I haven't thought about Power Rangers in forever. So very stupidly of me, I logged into Amazon, and then I blacked out, and then I woke up, and there was just 8 boxes here. But Pete, what was your favorites when you were growing up?
I mean, I was a huge He-Man fan. That was probably like the collection that I started with, and you know, you play with your friends and everything. And I had like the most figures. I had a couple of the He-Man vehicles, not too many. I had like the Dragon Walker. I had the castles, but like He-Man was my guy. Battle Cat. I still got my original Battle Cats. One of the only and my original He-Man. But like, I would never share He-Man with my friends. Like, y'all could be anybody you want. I'm He-Man, and that was the rule that I made up at the time, and I held true to it. But you know, going forward, I mean, I was into all of the toys in the '80s, Transformers, Thundercats, and everything. But I hit home with G.I. Joe, just like Jay did. And like, if there was a figure out, I got it. I made sure I got it, except for I started late, so I missed the initial 12 Joes. So I had to get those largely through flag points, like buying the new guys and then mailing away for the stuff. And I was able to find everybody except Scarlet and Snake Eyes. And those guys did not come until the later days of eBay.
Yeah.
But probably my favorite figures, once I got a hold of it, was the 1984 Snake Eyes. I bought them from a friend in school for $5. And I was thrilled. I still have him to this day. He's got no, he's got no O-ring, which at some point I have to learn how to replace. But
that's easy.
Home Depot. I heard, yeah. I don't know. I've never done it myself, but I've had a few friends tell me like, yeah, no. Once you get used to it, it's real simple. So I'm hoping that that's the case.
Or you could go to smalljoes.com and they sell repair kits.
Yes. My friend sent me a link to that. As a matter of fact. It's fun. Like, you know, I've gotten more into toys. I guess in the last year, turning 40, I kind of had like a little bit of a midlife crisis and everything. So I went a little crazy, like just reliving my youth. Like I'm just going to get frig comics at the moment. I'm into toys right now. But I think like I had a lot of vehicles for G.I. Joe. I was very blessed in that regard. But again, I didn't have, you know, I missed the Sky Striker. I missed the Terradrome, all of them. Original ones. So I had like the next ones. I had the Conquest. I had one of the favorite one was the Cobra Raven.
The Night Raven, yes.
Blackbird. Oh God, yes. I love that plane.
Yes.
And
I just wish you were able to fit more than 2 people in the cockpit.
Right? Seriously.
Yeah.
But I mean, do you fit more than 2 people in that plane to begin with? I don't even know.
Yeah, the X-Men do.
Well, yeah, okay, that's cheating.
That's fair.
And then
I'm like, they fit a whole team in there for X-Men.
They did.
Yeah. And all right, so the X-Men had the G.I. Joe Night Raven, right? The Blackbird. But Pete, do you remember the space shuttle for
Defiant?
The Defiant. Okay. So the Defiant was 3 different space shuttles, right? There was the trailer, there was the base piece, and then there was the one that looked like a plane, like a big fat plane, right?
Right. And that was like the booster, and then the shuttle attached to the top of that.
Yes, which was the Night Raven's little mini plane was attached to that. But you ever notice how that looked like the Avengers Quinjet?
You know, I didn't at the time, but now that you mention it, yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah. It does a little bit. Thinking about it.
You know what? Yeah. One that you didn't mention, I don't know. I wonder if you had it, Jay, was Rolling Thunder. The one with the 2 big ICB came out of the bottom.
No, I keep looking at that. Dude, somebody was selling it for like $1.80 locally.
That's
I was like,
that's great.
I know. I know, but me and the missus.
Oh, you blame me. Just tell her I said it was okay.
Bro, I want to get the USS Flag so bad.
Oh,
and she's
man.
like, not gonna happen.
Do you see these people like making custom levels to that? Like they're just making double. Oh God, it's beautiful.
Yes,
beautiful.
Did you ever see the guy that made it float?
Yes. It
God
finally floated after all these years.
Yes.
I will say though, Pete, about your pick of G.I. Joe, one compliment I'll give G.I. Joe is no matter what era you pick of G.I. Joe toys, they always have some of the best accessories for their figures.
True.
Like they never fail on that. They never do. I remember that animated movie I was telling you guys about, Valor or Venom.
Valor versus Venom, yeah.
I because didn't have much, so I was blessed that the Dollar General up the street from where I live were selling that whole line for like $2 or $3 at the dollar store. Wow. So begging my mom like, get a few while we're here. And she was like, just 2. So what my 2 were. Give me Storm Shadow, give me Snake Eyes, and I'm good. You won't hear from me. So I remember
those were the last of the Hasbro O-rings, Juwaan.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. After that, they moved to the 25th anniversary body.
I will say this one thing though. That Storm Shadow, I didn't like his swords. It was the long hooked sword.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't like his face.
Yeah.
I didn't like how they planted the snake right over his mask. That didn't work for me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. But I did like how many proteges Snake Eyes had in that movie.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty dope. Hopefully we see a Snake Eyes universe.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Like his Robin. Like his Robin.
And toys are coming soon, man.
And G.I. Joe was one of the first really big diversified toy lines.
Yes. There was
what I mean?
It was somebody for everybody.
So many, dude. It was multi-ethnic, and all you had to do was read the back of the card to find out if somebody was from whatever ethnic origin they were. And that was I love that stuff,
I will say G.I. Joe did that with putting the descriptions on the back. But another toy line that did a really good job with that was, I don't remember the exact toy line, forgive me, but there was a Marvel Universe set where it came with an envelope, and in the envelope was like an ID card, along with like Nick Fury trying to recruit you.
The early
website.
The very early Marvel 5 figures. They had that stuff.
It's where I got my my Silver Surfer from. Was from that line, and I loved it because not everyone reads the comics front and back, so getting those cards, especially when you're young, you're like, oh, Human Torch, and his name's Johnny Storm. Okay. Especially for characters that you maybe never heard of before. So I really respected Marvel for doing that. Like that really helped people,
So this was the Wolverine and that first wave that came out that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That's such a great stuff.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jaydee.
No, they did away with those file cards, I think, after wave number 3, wave number 4, and each different wave because it went from Nick Fury to when the Green Goblin Norman Osborn was running Shield, so it went from Shield to Hammer icons on there. So that was really cool. The 2-packs didn't have any of those file cards, though.
Not at all. Not even a little bit. But I love that figure you put up. That's one thing I do want them to experiment with. Not only do we deserve a Wolverine in a costume that's not looking like a biker, but I want them to experiment with different costumes. Like, when he's out on certain missions, wear that,
Yeah, that was his X-Force costume. I love it.
Yeah, we need that custom blue and yellow for sure. There's no way around that. Don't give me another Wolverine that doesn't have that. I will not accept it. I just can't. But Joel, who I'm sure feels the same way, what were some of your favorite toys growing up?
Oh, well, I grew up, I was born in 85, so I just missed G.I. Joe and Transformers past that, so I never really got into them. Transformers I like, but I like the Beast Wars Transformers. That's what I grew up with. So really my first toys were Ghostbusters. I had the Firehouse, I had the Ecto-1, I had backpack. I had the little goo. I remember I had this funny stories that I had it was a slime. So you had the little slime bottles and shit. And I remember opening it and playing with it. And at the bottom, there's actually like a ghost. I didn't know that. It freaked me the fuck out that there was something at the bottom. But that was cool. That was one of those cool things. But the Ghostbusters were like my first toy wave where I used to get whatever I could get. And then after that, obviously, I grew into the Ninja Turtles. I fucking loved the Ninja Turtles. So I had the turtle van. I had the sword. I had the bus when they were rock stars. Like that shit was dope. the Rockstar bus was. That was one of like the coolest vehicles I had. I don't know why, but not that I actually liked them rocking out, but I did love their bus. What else did I have? I had the pizza thrower. The fucking looked like a tank. Shit was cool as hell. I had the pizza thrower. So the Ninja Turtles, I had a lot of Ninja Turtle and different types of Ninja Turtle toys, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, but I had like the head flipping ones. The ones that you squish, a whole bunch of weird toys that the Ninja Turtles had, and a whole bunch of different cool characters they had too. But so I was really big in the Ninja Turtles, and really then after that, around the same time, was like I had bought Batman stuff. So like Batman '89 toys. I had like this gold Batman. I had the animated series Batmobile, Batwing. I even had the bat. I forget what they called it, but it was the thing he used in Batman and Robin that he's ice skating on, the big ass battle, that weird shit. I had that. That was cool too. So I didn't have, and I also got the Blackbird from the X-Men. That was one of my favorite toys too. Was the X-Men Blackbird that shot missiles and you used to open
the Toy Biz one, right? The early Toy Biz one. Yeah,
I remember getting that shit for Christmas. That was one of the coolest things there because it was big. It was a big ass box, so it was really cool to get the Blackbird.
How many figures fit in there?
Oh, I don't remember. Honestly, I don't remember because like I don't even know if you could fit like they could sit in them because maybe you could sit one person. It wasn't a lot. I know you couldn't fit a lot of people. So
now that I'm thinking about it, that Blackbird along with the ship from Justice League Unlimited, it just wasn't made for multiple figures. So the ship for Justice League Unlimited, you could fit a pilot because the middle could come apart.
Right, exactly.
So I do remember a lot of those vehicles. I'd say more so the 2000s on, they started developing more vehicles that could fit more than one person in it. But I feel like from the 90s backwards, it was kind of just like one, and you be happy we have it that one can fit in there.
Right, exactly.
It was just like, all right, okay.
Like, Pete, do you remember the first Thunder Tank?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I never got my hands on it, but you could only fit 2 figures in there.
One
was the driver
and somebody on the guns in the back.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah. Always enough for me.
I got the Super 7 one on pre-order. I cannot wait for this.
God bless you. God, that's a fight I don't want to start with the missus, bro.
Again, just blame me, man. I said you crickets that I can just keep going downhill here. I'm fine.
Joe,
maybe I'm going over Pete's house to play. I could see that.
Right? Joe, I have to ask you, knowing how much of a Spider-Man fan you didn't have any Spider-Man figures?
I did, but I didn't have like anything that went with it. So I had like a really flexible Spider-Man toy. Like I swear to God, every joint was movable. I forget what that was, but it was one of my favorite ones because he can bend any way I wanted. It was pretty cool. Every joint had was like flexible. It's crazy.
Was that a cartoon or the early Toy Biz versions?
It was a Toy Biz one, I think, right?
It wasn't a cartoon one. I know it was a
okay. So the Spider-Man classics,
probably
before Marvel Legends, Spider-Man had 2 waves, and one of them was like multi.
Yeah, every damn joint can move. It was pretty.
Nice.
And I had
there were 2 good flexible ones like that, and I remember. The early one was like really based on the Toy Biz line. And then I got one that was a little bit more hyper detailed in the costume and everything. But yeah, those were both fantastic figures.
They were awesome. I love that toy. And then I had a Wolverine toy, but he was the opposite. He couldn't bend for shit. Only thing he did, his claws would come out. Like he used to be able to hide his claws. Right. You like pull it back and then like hook it so it doesn't come out, and then you could just flip them out. And his mask.
He had them straight arms. And
and his mask would come right off. You could pull it off and put it on, whatever. And it was the tan costume.
I will say,
ring too.
Yes, I did.
I will say you were lucky in that Spider-Man figure, Joel. The only Spider-Man figure I had as a kid was I believe it came from McDonald's or Burger King. It was from the animated series. So it was his arms would stick out like this. You could put them down. But when you put one of them down, the head would flip and it would be half Peter Parker, half Spider-Man. But the hand was holding a camera.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you don't bend. I don't like this. I don't like that I can't make you do stuff. Like, I don't like any of this. It's why I'm a big fan of the way they make figures now, to where, like, especially wrestling figures, they make them now where it comes with multiple heads, multiple hands, multiple arms. I like that because, you know, sometimes the face you give them is just like so terrifying. I want to swap it, you know, get rid of that, move that, and let me put something else there. And it's super flexible. I need them to be bendable and, like, you know, if I want to put them in poses, like, don't just give me this where it's like, all right, that's all I got. But, you know, it speaks to times and how they've changed and how spoiled kids are today.
Yeah. Like, if we go back to that Spider-Man animated series line, one of the best figures that came out of that line was the Spider-Man, the Spider-Man Doppelganger. Do you guys remember that?
With the 6 arms?
The 6 arms, yes. He wasn't superposable, but he had a great sculpt to him. And he was already hunched over. So he was pretty much, you know, you leave him where he is and you know he's not going to tip over. You don't get that with the figures you get today, you know, with the multiple hands and the multiple heads and stuff like that. And all those joints over time, yes, it leads to posability, but it also leads to weak joints. And not a lot of those figures can stand up without a stand or a base of some sort.
By the way, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I'm going to try to see if I can show it to you on my phone. They just released these. They're the Spider-Man the animated series figures. They're 6-inch Jaydee, fully posable, but they're based off the cartoon. And the reason I love it is, like, the photo I was showing you is of Black Cat. Comes with a little cat and the whip. But that line is so good. There's a Peter Parker, comes with the camera, you know.
The split face one, right?
Yes. And then there's they actually have, and this is where my mind blew, they have the Daredevil from Spider-Man the animated series. And I love this line so much, man. I wish I didn't dive down that Power Rangers hole. I wish I went with the Spider-Man line. But make sure you guys definitely check that out. It's dope line, fully posable, 6-inch. And it's really, really, really cool line that I don't really hear anyone talking about. But yeah, so it sounds like we all feel as though our age of toys were just better.
Well, it depends on your price tag now. I mean, there's a lot of great toys out there, but they're dough. Like, Mafex does ridiculous sculpts.
I want that, Jaydee. I saw that. See, listen, Jaydee. You're the reason why after every Tuesday I go shopping, okay? You are the reason.
This is I can't say it's a comic book accurate Ironmonger,
right?
But that Iron Man line from that first Iron Man movie was amazing. The detail on this bad boy. I mean, look at the sculpt on his back. Look at the sculpt on the you know, on the soles of the feet and stuff like that. You know, you had great stuff from that line. You had him.
That's details that are usually left out of things, like, you know, back sculpts and feet and things like that.
Yep. So to give that detail, you know, he's not the only one like that. Crimson Dynamo that also came out of that line. You know, you got all the etches where it looks like the suit is just panels on top of panels. Really great figures, man. That first wave of Iron Man figures was awesome. You know, you had the Guardsmen, who the name I was forgetting last time, and they were like the Shield version of Iron Man, very weak armor. Titanium Man. You know, you have Whiplash come out of that. Really great stuff, man. Really great stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. By the way, Joel, completely random, but I just saw this. Cobra Kai has a video game out on Switch.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I just saw it, so I added it to my my wish list on Amazon.
Please tell me it looks like. Does it look like the cheesy kung fu game from back in the day?
It
Please
does.
Wow.
It does a little bit, but I think that's the plan. Like they wanted it to be kind of like
for real. Like I
Great.
was just kind of joking around. But if that's legit,
no, it actually.
that's awesome.
I don't know if it's kung fu, but it definitely has old school graphics.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's old school graphics for sure. Yes, 100%.
I just figured like the whole thing's based on kind of like an 80s property.
Right, it's an 80s esque.
That's a screen cap of it a little bit.
It's hard to see.
Yeah. So blind. Send that to the group message though.
Oh, yeah. I got you for sure. But all right, let's move on to our next topic. And our next topic is, and this one I think we're going to have a lot of fun with. This one is, what non-A-lister, Marvel or DC, character would we like to see them use in a movie or a show can't be someone that's already greenlit? For example, if it wasn't already greenlit, I would have run to saying Blue Beetle. You guys know what my love for Blue Beetle is,
right?
But it's already been greenlit. So I
have a question on that note because I couldn't remember and I didn't have time to Google it, unfortunately. But correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there a Question TV show or something like on its way?
No, Kevin Smith said he wanted to do that a while ago, but it never gained any traction. So that would work if that's who you wanted to go with.
That's pretty much my answer. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I'll let you start then since you have yours. Yeah, go ahead and kick it off then, Pete.
I just always dug them characters, the Question and the Phantom Stranger. Like I find they don't get enough play, like, in regular comics. And I just feel like, there's plenty of cop shows. You could throw a friggin' nickel at a channel and you find in a cop show somewhere, whether it's NCIS or something or
Law and Order.
Law and Order. There's 9,000 of those. There's Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, Chicago Sanitation, whatever. I mean, like and Gotham started out this way. And I said this to my friends, like, they're going to ruin this show in about 2 or 3 years because they're going to try to do too much Batman shit instead of keeping the show the way it was when it was cool, which was just a police force trying to deal with the corruption of Gotham City. And if you have a Question show like that, like a just kind of city noir type of thing, I think it would be really interesting. No real superpowers except for the fact that I think he's like psychic or some shit. I don't even know what he does.
Nothing.
And you could even bring the girl in when Renee Montoya became the Question. I don't care. I'm amenable to that, just as long as it's not Rosie Perez, for Christ's sake.
I will say,
the Spooky Brothers.
I will say I love that, Pete. I had always had Carl Urban as my Question. I've never wavered from it. I'm sure if they ever greenlight it, they would cast someone perfect. But Carl Urban, to me, especially after Dredd, right after Dredd, I was just on a huge Carl Urban kick. Like,
the man can do no
everything. Yeah. Like, put him in everything. Yeah. Joel knows this. When I get a guy, I'm stuck. Like, I don't waver from it.
Don't you pick Carl Urban for everybody at this point?
Yeah. I'd probably say Carl Urban, Silver
JFK, Carl Urban.
Yeah, everybody. Ronald McDonald, Carl Urban.
That would be his movie I'd watch.
Ronald McDonald killing people? Yeah, I would love that.
Oh, yeah.
But I love the Question for so many reasons because I actually like the storyline they went with in Justice League Unlimited. It's something that
was a great storyline. Yep. I
think it's perfect. But again, to what me and Joel were saying on our podcast, Much Ado About Nothing, you need a shared universe in order to do that. You can't just randomly throw that together. Like, that can't be an Elseworld. There's just
or should it be?
There's just too many moving parts for you to make that an Elseworld. Like, you'd have to introduce a Superman, a Batman, a whole Justice League, Lex Luthor. Like, there's just too many moving parts. But a movie where we're having someone question things that no one else is questioning, I love that. And I love a great detective movie. Because we've been waiting forever to get that from The Greatest Detective. So why not? Why not just add more detectives in there? But yeah, I've been wanting that for forever. I know there's 2 characters Kevin Smith has been wanting to bring to the screen, Onomatopoeia and The Question. He's been wanting to bring those 2 characters to life for sure. That's why I hope if The Question ever does get greenlit, Kevin Smith is at least in the writing room Like, he doesn't have to direct it, you know, it just be in the writing room, because he'll put so much care into that character. But yeah, it's a character I'd like to see in a DC universe that's established, that has a Lex Luthor, has a Justice League, and we can go down that rabbit hole. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, great pick, Pete. I love it. The Question, we need it immediately. An HBO Max series of The Question? Yeah. Come on. Damn, I can't get that out of my head now. I don't even remember what my pick was. That was so good. Somebody else has to go while I reshuffle my cards. Joel, I'll go to you next. Non-A-lister, who would you like to see from Marvel or DC?
That hasn't been greenlit. Like
that has not been greenlit, right?
Does Hawkman count? Because now that he's part of the Black Adam movie,
no.
But it's not his own movie.
It doesn't count. No, I'll let you use Hawkman, because he could be in this movie and then they never bring him up again. So, you know, I'm talking.
Wait, but he was in DC Legends, though, wasn't he?
He was on Legends. Yeah, he was on Legends.
He was on Legends. But I mean, greenlit for their solo project. Like,
okay,
solo project.
Yeah, that's why I asked it, because he's going to be in the Black Adam movie. I'm like, does that count? So I'm like, I look. So I'm gonna go with Black. I mean, not Black Adam. That's gonna be good. But I want to go with Hawkman. Like, I've always loved the design of Hawkman, the look of Hawkman. Yeah. So it was like, I remember when they first announced that Hawk Girl was gonna be in the Justice League animated series, and I'm like, what's that Hawkman? I'm a Hawkman fan, so for me it was weird. For a lot of people, it was like, they don't even know who Hawkman is. So
which version of Hawkman? You like the original pre-crisis? Do you like the alien Hawkman? Do you like the Native American Hawkman? Do you like the merged Hawkman?
I like the ancient Egypt one, not the alien one is fine. I like that one, but I prefer the archaeologist. But what they've done recently is they kind of melded everything together. Yeah. So I like that. So whatever they do with that,
that's cool.
But I'm more akin to the archaeologist with the Shadow Thief, and then his like resurrections and shit like that. I love that, so I would definitely go in that direction. And I like who they already got an actor, so I'll even stay with what's his name?
Aldous Hodge.
I like him, so let's go with. I can't wait to see what he actually looks like. Even though Boss Logic's like fan art for his costume looked beautiful. If it's anything like that, we're fucking lucky, bro, because that costume looked great. But yeah, Hawkman's always been an interesting character. I've always liked the design of his. The origin's interesting. Just the look of him has always been. He just looks cool to me. So yeah, I would go with Hawkman.
And he made the mace cool. That's a weapon that not people can make cool. He made that really cool. I will say though, I didn't know who Hawk Girl or Hawkman was when I started Justice League Unlimited. But I remember going, you got to stop putting a helmet on her. She is hot. Like, she looked amazing in Justice League Unlimited. And they kept putting her in the helmet. I'm like, I get it, it's accurate, but take that shit off. But huge shouts out to John Stewart. I see you, my boy. I see you dibbling dabbling with Hawk Girl. But no, Hawkman movie. So in your movie, just Hawkman or Hawkman and
they can have both. I don't mind having Hawkman and Hawk Girl and having them like share the movie or whatever. Okay. That's the thing that, like, what would you call it? Like Hawks? like that's the problem, because one is gonna get one of these, like Hawkman and Hawk Girl, like Ant-Man and Wasp do. That doesn't even sound right. So I don't know. Hawk World.
Yeah.
Hawk World sounds good.
I was never a fan of Ant-Man and then Ant-Man and the Wasp. I was just kind of like, I get it. It's on par with what you've been doing with your Marvel movies, but it's kind of just like, at some point you got to get creative. Like, you just have to be more creative than that. I never liked like Iron Man, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3. Let's get creative with the names of these.
They've gotten better since that, honestly.
Sure. No, they have.
Can I give you one more character?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just one more, just real quick. Yeah. Aside from Hawkman, I have this weird like love for Wildcat from DC's Wildcat. And that's a rare from the JSA. The old school Wildcat, Ted Grant. I always imagine like Sylvester Stallone as fucking Wildcat. That's how I imagine it in my head, right? Because he's Rocky, right? That's how he's basically DC's Rocky, right? So I would always love to like them to appreciate the character a little bit more. I would love like just a mini series with just him even if it's like a flashback miniseries from like back in the day, it doesn't even have to be modern day, or him like coming out of retirement. Like again, like that's really popular nowadays. Imagine Ted Grant Wildcat coming out of retirement to fight crime one last time. Some bullshit. I would love that.
I personally, he deserves his own show 100%. But to me, as a middle ground, knowing how Warner Brothers is with giving us characters that, you know, haven't been given their just due.
Yeah.
Green light, I'm sorry, a Black Canary series, and give us a prequel to the guy that trained her, and let it be him. Let it be him as the guy that trained her. And you know, it doesn't have to be like a buddy kind of movie. It can just be he trains her and he's part of the final battle. You know, but to me, it's just like, I kind of would like him to kind of be introduced somewhere like that.
Yeah.
That they he's not popularity.
He's not like a main guy. He's not like a lister. He's like a C-lister. But I love his design, and I always like the character. And he's always pushed to the side. He doesn't have powers either. So it's like that. He's just another character. Like, I love Batman because he's the character with no powers. Wildcat's another guy I look up to. He doesn't even use weapons. It's just, he's just going to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
So I just
and it's crazy because it's so weird. Like, you know, the phrase "be careful what you ask for" came into full effect when we're like, we need Wildcat, and then the Arrowverse was like, we got you, and then it was just like, why did we say anything?
The best Wildcat was in Justice League Unlimited, man.
100%, 100%.
Hell yeah.
Wait, what was the episode? Because that episode, I've only ever cried for a cartoon once, and it was that episode where he got the shit beaten out of him, I think, to prove a point to
Right.
Black Canary.
Right, when they were in the cage run by Roulette.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, no. Not him. He beat the shit out of Green Arrow. Arrow was trying to teach Black Canary a lesson. That's what it was. I cried my heart out.
You beat Green Arrow ass.
I was like, oh, you gotta dodge one of those. Like,
oh my god, I keep forgetting what the actor's name that did that voice. What was it? Who was it?
Oh shit.
Oh my god.
Of Wildcat?
Yeah.
He's an old school actor too.
He was the Chicago cop who retired.
I forget his name.
Oh my god.
I know who you're talking about.
He passed away. I keep thinking Vincent passed away, but that's not him. Oh my god. He was from Snatch. P, remember Snatch?
Yeah. Which character?
Remember Avi, the one who came from the States? You don't go to fucking England. Oh my god. Okay, what was the
We'll look it up.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now, Joe.
Christ.
I gotta while you're looking that up, I just thought of this really stupid tagline. Like, if Hawkman became a made-for-TV movie or some shit.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Like, my brain just, like, the hamster got on the wheel, started running. It's like, we hope you remember your trigonometry.
Oh my god!
Turning the excitement up to the nth power. I'll go.
You just made me throw up.
Dennis Farina.
Dennis Farina. There we go.
By the way,
perfect casting for that.
By the way, there's so many people I just saw in that cast that I didn't even know were the voices of some of these characters, and I'm just like, that needs to win awards. Like, bring it back.
Did. Dude, that's why Andrea Romano is one of the greatest casting directors ever, going all the way back to Batman the Animated Series.
For sure.
Right? I'm sorry. The fact that she dumped Tim Curry to get Mark Hamill as the Joker, you know, that's huge. That takes a lot of balls to do that. You know, Melissa Gilbert as Batgirl back then. The switch between the two Supermans from Superman the Animated Series to the Superman from Justice League Unlimited, you know,
right.
it was seamless. You didn't you couldn't tell, you know. No, dude. Jerry O'Connell as Shazam, you know. I mean, dude, it goes on. Lex Luthor, hello. What's his name?
Man, voices.
He's a great fucking voice actor, man.
Yeah. By the way, somebody I want to give credit to that I believe in our world doesn't get enough credit. I'm pronouncing his name wrong, so forgive me. But Joaquim Dos Santos.
Joaquim Dos Santos. Yeah.
Joaquim Dos Santos. That man is a genius, a pure genius, and his name is never mentioned.
Are you kidding me? No way. He's amazing, dude.
No, I agree. He's amazing. I'm saying the community, our community doesn't talk about him enough.
He went from Justice League. He went from before Justice League Unlimited. I think he first started with the Superman animated series. And I mean, look, dude, he produced Avatar. You know, he was one of the heads on Avatar, man.
He also did my all-time favorite. What do you call it? G.I. Joe Resolute. He did that also.
Ah, okay.
Yep. That man is just, he understands it. He does.
Yeah.
He really does.
You were thinking Clancy Brown, Jaydee.
Clancy Brown, yes.
Brown, yes.
Yes, dude.
The Kurgan.
The Kurgan. Yes.
Right.
Oh, my God.
But is my character, and luckily, I'm saved by the fact that sci-fi completely sucks balls. But my character that I'm choosing is none other than Lobo.
Okay.
Lobo.
Nice.
And I want a movie. Don't give me no series. I want a movie. I want the budget high. And I want you to go balls to the wall. A darker Deadpool. That's what I want for my Lobo.
I would have loved The Rock as Lobo, not as Black Adam.
I would have preferred Jason Momoa as Lobo because he looks just like him. He looks exact. That's why when James Wan was like, not James Wan, I'm sorry. When Zack Snyder was like, Jason Momoa is your Aquaman, I was just like, why? You know, but obviously
it changed the game.
Right. You know? But now I'm like, I love it. But at the time I was just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. He looks nothing like, you know, but I didn't see at that time he was trying to change the narrative with both Diana, Arthur. Right.
He just wanted to make him more tougher looking, basically.
No question, no arguments here.
I made him what do they call that? There's a name for it. It's not Hawaiian because he is half
Samoan, right?
What is it?
Samoan?
Maori?
He's Hawaiian. No, starts with a P.
Polynesian.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Geography, not my strong point.
And you know what's crazy? The guy I had always pictured for Aquaman was the guy that replaced Spartacus.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't bad.
Liam
Spartacus.
Yeah.
The one who he was Weather Wizard on The Flash.
Yeah. And to me, the only reason why I viewed him as my Aquaman was I never thought Warner Brothers would be brave enough to do an Aquaman movie because it's a character legit outside of us, really, like the hardcore fans, no one really cares about because it's like.
Well, they made fun of it on
right,
HBO.
Exactly.
Like, with the what name of that show?
Entourage.
Entourage, yeah.
It was a whole running gag. That was supposed to be a starring role.
Exactly.
It was Aquaman. Yeah.
So to me, I never thought they were brave enough. I never thought they were brave enough to do it. So I'm like, he's the right kind of actor that has a little notoriety to him, has the look, and can handle it, right? So when they went Jason Momoa, I was just like, I don't get it. But to me, I'm like, I can close my eyes and picture Jason Momoa with red eyes and the cigar in his mouth.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Easily.
But The Rock too, man. The Rock too, talk about breaking the fourth wall. Rock is made for that.
I agree, but to me, there's just something very off-putting about putting hair on The Rock.
The Rock was almost Lobo. He was attached to the Lobo project a while, like early on.
He was. And I still wouldn't have liked the idea of the wig.
Hey, the guy who played Lobo on Krypton was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it.
I loved him. He was amazing.
He looked good too. I was impressed.
Yeah,
I did not watch that series, but I watched that episode at Ramon's behest. He was like, if you watch it, it's got to be that one.
Yeah.
Yep. He was the best part of that season.
Huge shout out to that cast, by the way. We interviewed most of that cast. Cast.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Great.
It wasn't a terrible show.
Not at all. But I will say, what's his name that played the main character? 100% lied to me in my interview with him. I was just like, Green Lanterns. Like, could we see anything like that? And he's like, I can't really get into it. And I sat through like 2 seasons, and I was just like,
no Green Lantern.
nothing.
Damn Green Lantern.
They teased Thanagarians at the end of the episode.
Well, they did. They did. They also teased Darkseid.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Wow.
So we never got there though.
And I tell you guys this: it gave us our best Doomsday to date. That Doomsday looked
And Brainiac,
amazing, and Brainiac looked great.
look at the designs for that show. Incredible.
Yeah,
Nice.
I don't know where Sci-Fi got that budget from. They got that from somewhere in the reserves, but they
the Sharknado movies, man.
Wait, let me tell you this. When I heard they were doing Brainiac and Lobo in Doomsday, I was just like, the network that gave me Sharknado? No, there's no way it's going to look good. And I remember when I saw the trailer, I was just like, no way Sci-Fi did this. Like, someone else did it, and they're just putting it on Sci-Fi.
That's
Sci-Fi
possibility.
was like, no, Sci-Fi was like, no, it was us. I was just like, then why? Why sharks flying out of tornadoes when you have the capabilities of good stuff
Why
like
not
this?
sharks flying out of tornadoes?
Sharks with laser beams on their head.
The things you have to ask is why Sharktopus, why
Yes.
Velocigator,
Yeah.
Velocigator.
those crazy things.
Yeah,
3-headed
two-headed shark.
attack, 5-headed
I
shark
actually
attack.
saw a movie called Tarantulas versus Alligators, and when I tell you, I clicked on that shit so fast just to kind of see what is your story for that? Like, why are they ever in the same habitat? So I watched that.
How do they get into it? Yeah, I want to see that.
Dude, you guys, see, that's the thing. You didn't grow up in the 70s, right? You didn't see the horror films like Food of the Gods, which was just basically rats filmed from a distance to make it seem like they were bigger for the cast. It was just they were supposed to be monster rats, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna find this movie.
Speaking of monster rats, I did not appreciate how the Joker movie made New York and New Jersey seem like we were so dirty. We had mutated rats.
Well, you weren't around there.
No, dude. They said it during the sanitation strike of New York back in the 70s, dude.
Really?
That was something that really happened, man.
Oh shit! You know what it was?
Mayor Koch had a problem with negotiating a contract with sanitation.
It was the birth of Splinter. That's what it was. That's all it was, and they didn't know. They didn't understand.
But did you see that video of, I think it was on Subway Creatures on Instagram? There was a rat like being eaten and being like, it gets pulled underneath a dumpster in the subway. And that is a standard New York size rat. And something ate it and then poked its fucking nose out of the thing, just looks around. It is the head of a gigantic rat. Like the head had to be this big.
God.
I swear to God, I have this video and I will send it to you.
No, you won't. No, the hell you won't.
I want to see it.
No, the hell you won't. Not in the group chat.
Yo,
I'm about to say, I'll put a trigger warning, whatever I got to do. But it's going in the group chat.
Gracious.
I've seen some big ass fucking rats in New York. I believe it.
I've never seen a creature or an animal eat their own kind. I've never seen that.
That was the epitome of like wait till the end, and all of a sudden, like the last 3 seconds, you see this thing, and it's
I'll never sleep or leave my house. No, thank you.
Yeah.
But back to Lobo. Right? To think we got that far off.
It looks like a human rat. Go ahead.
Right?
Yeah.
I do want a Lobo movie. I think they could do it so well. I think you could make it like for Deadpool. And, you make it as true to rated R as you possibly can. And there's nothing doper than a space bounty hunter. There's just nothing doper than that,
Yeah, on a motorcycle-esque
on
thing.
a motorcycle. And to me, the biggest thing I've always loved about Lobo was I never considered him a good guy or a villain. I don't even give him the title anti-hero. He's just a bounty hunter. He's just doing his job. Like, it's not even like he's just showing up to planets just murdering people for no reason. It's like he's here to do a job. That's it. Just here to do a job. And because you're implementing the idea of space through the DC world, he could come across so many planets where we see familiar characters that we know and love. So I'm like, you could really do something cool where he's interacting with he could run into the Lantern Corps somewhere on a planet doing a job, you know?
Yeah.
And that Lantern's job is to protect that specific world, and he's causing all kinds of chaos. So I'm like, you could do some really cool stuff with it. And he's a character that I promise you do that first movie. It's the Deadpool effect. You do that first movie and it hits, the demand for Lobo will be through the
roof.
Through the roof. Next thing you know, there'll be a cartoon for kids. There'll be a cartoon for us. There'll be figures. There'll be everything Lobo. And to me, that's the world I want, where DC is doing what Marvel did with like the Guardians, to where you're taking characters that not many people know about and you're now making them important, you know?
Yeah.
I'm tired of just talking about characters and then someone that's never read the comics is like, I don't know who you're talking about. I'm like, God damn it. Like, like, why don't you know this? And it's like, I don't know. I've never read a comic. I'm like,
they're not popular.
Please make these characters more popular, please. But that's why you give a lot of respect to Marvel vs. Capcom. It did help a lot with a lot of Pete, did you just send that to the group chat?
I put a warning. Don't watch the video.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, far away from that. Far away from that.
You just stop what you do, like this dick. He sent it.
All right, you know what, Pete? Do me a favor. Delete it by the morning.
Fair enough.
To talk to you guys, I don't see it by accident. Give me a goddamn heart attack. But anyway, yes. Lobo.
Oh shit.
Yeah, see? I don't like to hear stuff like that. Don't commentate, Joel. But yes, Lobo is a character I want to see. Obviously, you can't get Ryan Reynolds. You can't get Jason Momoa. So I have no idea who I'd like to play Lobo.
Carl Urban.
You know what's crazy? I would love Carl Urban. You know what? I think that's a great cast. I think I could accept a buzz cut Lobo. I think I could accept that. Like,
no,
he's already rocked long hair. He was Aemir in Lord of the Rings.
He could be long hair.
Blonde hair.
I don't know what it is, but I just prefer people that actually have long hair. I don't know why, but the look of putting that on for Lobo just creeps me out so much.
No, you give him that long hair, of course. You know what Tia's guy, what's his name? Fuck, I forget his name.
From American Gods?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be playing Halo.
Yeah, he's gonna be playing
Liev Schreiber's brother. What's his name? Pablo Schreiber. Right.
Who else?
He would actually be a really good You know what, Joel? Since Halo looks like it's not kicking off yet, let's cancel that because they're gonna fuck that up for me. And let's just put Pablo as Lobo. Let's do it.
I had someone else in too. Who was it?
I like Pablo as Matt Sweeney on American Gods.
Yeah,
he's great.
He's great. He's great.
Dead wife. Tell me, dead wife.
You know who else? The guy who voiced Lobo recently in the Superman animated series movie. He would actually play
the guy from Ray Romano's brother.
No, the other guy. That's from the cartoon. I mean, from the animated series. I'm talking about the animated movie that just came out recently. He played Opie and
Yes, hold on.
The guy from Walking Dead.
Yes. I have him right here. Hold on. Ryan
Sons of Anarchy.
Ryan Hurst.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ryan Hurst.
Yeah,
he'd be good too.
Yes,
he did
he already has the long hair. There we go. We good.
Yeah.
We found it.
He has the look and the voice.
He's like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, he's tall as fuck too.
You know what? That's the one pushback I'd have. To me, a movie is usually made by the actor. And I think he's not familiar enough because Sons of Anarchy is so far back. I would actually, if you give me Ryan Hurst, I would prefer that as an HBO Max series. I would.
Fine too. I'll take that.
I would. Only because you don't want to do a movie with a guy like that. People already don't know Lobo. People probably don't recognize him. You don't want any of that negativity around it. It's better to do it with a show, build it up, and if the show takes off, spin it off into a movie.
But that's where you come up with the villain, and you don't need a villain who's part of even his franchise of villains. You just need a big name actor who can pull off a badass bad guy.
That's true.
You know, Gene Hackman in Superman, he wasn't even in the movie 10, 15 minutes, right?
True.
He had some of the most memorable lines. Vincent D'Onofrio as Daredevil. Hello. He didn't even have one full episode in the course of the first season, right? Everybody wants him to be that, you know. Whatchamacallit? Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs. Dude, he didn't even have 5 minutes of screen time in the whole flick.
Well, I'll give you that.
I only just heard that. It was like 5 minutes.
I'll give you Anthony Hopkins and Thor. That's what sold it for me. I didn't know who the fuck Chris Hemsworth or Tom Hiddleston was. But if Anthony wants to do a Marvel movie, sign me up. Like, I've read Odin. Like, I know who Odin can be, and I'm like, this is awesome. I look back at it now, and I'm kind of like, Odin would have been, and I guess it's because of American Gods, but the guy that plays Odin in American Gods, I'm kind of just like, he would have fought for Odin to still be alive, like in the MCU. Like, that's how attached to it he would have been.
He's got one of the best voices ever. I can listen to him read a phone book, man.
100%. Like, to me, he's starting to get to that Ron Perlman level of like voices that I'm just like, could be any villain. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what the villain is. Put his voice in, and it'll work. It'll work for you. But Jaydee, last up, who do you what character, non-A-lister from Marvel or DC, you going with?
All right, because you know I got the figure, right? So we're gonna whip him up. Let's see. You guys recognize who this guy is?
That Dark Claw, whatever.
Dark Hawk. He was the 90s Marvel Spider-Man, right? Oh my God. There was Spider-Man, then there was Nova, then there was this guy, and they tried to pitch him as that centerpiece for the Marvel Universe. The teen kid with a family who tried to balance the superhero life with the trying to get schoolwork done. And if you read Marvel comics in the 90s, you were a Darkhawk fan, were you not, Pete?
Yes.
Dark.
And it's like the number one is the running gag of all collectors somehow. Like, you know, make sure you've got your Darkhawk number one because it's coming at some point, and everybody says that. And I think everybody's got themselves. You have to have one in the collection somewhere.
You got to, dude.
Somewhere.
So, yeah, Chris Powell. You know, with two brothers, a mom. You know, his dad was a deceased cop who died on the job, and you know, how can you not be a hero trying to do that? Coming from somebody who lost his dad, that drew me into reading the book. And I don't know, man. You know, he had ties to space. He had ties to, you know, that street level hero because he didn't know the full extent of using his powers and stuff like that. So Darkhawk is it, man. He had wings. He couldn't fly.
It was
he
awesome.
did look Guyver.
Yeah.
He had a cool design.
That design is pretty dope. So let me ask you this, Jaydee. Do you see him more as a Disney Plus series, or you think you could do a big movie?
Definitely. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Either one.
Disney Plus. You know, you don't go kids, you don't go adult. You try to get those emo teens. Mm-hmm. Definitely something to go for. You know, they dropped the ball with the Cloak and Dagger show on Freeform. That was supposed to be much darker. A hell of a lot more drug use.
Needed was a villain. That show was a decent show, and if they brought in like Tombstone,
someone good. Yeah.
It was. Tombstone was in it.
No,
they could have.
But he was like their big villain. Like he was their guy that they would always wind up fighting in the comics. And all they needed was one good villain, and it would have been a better show.
Here's the great thing with him is I think you take the villains that are Spider-Man's C and D villains, the ones that he beats up, you know, in 1, 2, 3, but you show this kid struggling. You know, that's how he earns his bones, right? You're like, oh, Spider-Man does nothing to it, but this kid, he can't get around to someone, he can't figure it out. So you show how dangerous they really could be when they're not fighting a professional. I don't know, you know, like Spider-Man.
Super strength.
Yeah, I will say, Jaydee, now that you mentioned Cloak and Dagger, I will say, now that they have the rights to mutants back, I do want to see Kevin Feige give me a Disney Plus series of The Runaways, rebooted. I don't need the same cast. I would love it, but I don't need it. But I do want The Runaways back. They did a great job with what they did on that show for Hulu. That first season is all time.
Yeah, I couldn't get into the second season.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. But that first season is classic. I stand by it. Because to me, my issue with shows like that are always, do not make it for teens. Do not. Don't give me that teen drama, the teen romance. Like, no, give me what I read in the comics for these characters. And they nailed it. They really did. They nailed it. And I love the Runaways. So now that they have mutants back in the MCU, give me the Runaways, man. Give me the Runaways. I would love it.
Okay.
You know, because to me, that's one of those teams that I'm like, you could really have some fun with that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even have some crossovers with Kamala Khan. Really have some fun with it. You know, go wild with the Runaways.
I always felt it was a good concept. I just don't like the way it was executed. That's just
Same.
Even
Same.
season one.
I like the concept. I just don't like the way it was executed. You know, the kids are villains who figured out their parents are villains.
Right.
Shit, I'm out. And in the case of being Runaways, they end up doing good. You know, but the way they pulled it off, it just didn't work for me.
All right, fair, very fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, we put up some really, really, really good characters here, man. Hopefully some of them get greenlit within the next few years. I will say we're on the right track. Blue Beetle being greenlit, us getting a Justice League Dark. You know, they're obviously going for characters that are somewhat popular, but not at that height. I'd say Constantine is the only his success in the CW is the only reason Abrams is able to kick off these characters, because you have someone that people are like, I know him. I've seen him, you know, interact with Arrow and Flash.
See, I like the show that he had on NBC.
Me too.
That was a great freaking
ahead
series.
It was ahead of its time, because if you put that on
100%.
HBO Max now, like if you
it'll kick ass, man.
It should have always been on HBO. That, like, if you know Hellblazer, it deserves to be somewhere where there's no rules. Hellblazer deserves to be on HBO. So I can't wait to see what the fuck they do with Constantine on HBO Max. Holy shit!
For sure, and I stand by it. I loved God, what's his name, Joel? Swamp Thing. I love Swamp Thing.
I did too. I enjoyed it a lot.
They did a really good job with that. So I'm like, they were trending upward with some of these characters. So now
they're doing a new Swamp Thing, like in the comics. I mean, it's not going to be it's not what's his original name? Donald. Shit, forget his name. But anyway, there's a new Swamp Thing because I think he recently died in one of the storylines, and he's gonna be an Indian guy now.
Ooh.
Okay, you know
that for sure.
When you were talking about Sci-Fi Channel for a second, right? A little while ago, and it's like they always go through highs and lows when it comes to programming. And when Sci-Fi Channel first came out, I think that's that Swamp Thing series was one of the first shows on Sci-Fi Channel, if I'm not correct.
It was. I think it did show on Sci-Fi Channel before it went on CW, but it was a DC Universe exclusive show first.
Yeah.
No. I'm talking about like.
Oh, you mean the original?
Sci-Fi Channel launch in 89, 90s?
Oh, you're talking about the originals. Oh, yeah.
Dude.
I used to watch it on USA. I think it was.
It was USA. I'm sorry. It was USA. They used to do the reruns on Sci-Fi Channel.
Yes.
TV show.
Yes.
Right.
I used to watch the shit out of that boring ass show.
Yes.
Anything I could get my hands on.
That was off of the movies, right? The first one.
Right. But it was darker than the movies. Right. Really? The second movie, the first movie was a little campy. The second one catered more to kids.
Right.
It was like a really toned down Toxic Avenger type of deal.
Though.
Yes, it did remind me of Toxic Avenger.
Right. But then the series took off, and it was the same actor, Dick Gerard. But it was the same actor who did the Swamp Thing from the first two movies.
Okay, that's awesome, man. I remember watching like
USA, yes, but Sci-Fi Channel. Oh, Sci-Fi Channel was there, and then Sci-Fi Channel had Farscape. That was a great show for a while, and then they did some shitty programming, and then they started to come back up recently. They had some great original programming, and now it's garbage again.
Yeah. Well, so I was telling Juwaan the other day, like when I used to watch all these marathons from the Marvel marathons back in the day on Sci-Fi Channel. We used to watch that old '70s Captain America show.
Yeah, dude, Red Brown.
Yeah, I mean, some of them shits. I used to love it, even though they weren't the best. But Doctor Strange, fall asleep every time I watched it. But yeah, well, I'd watch it. It was there. The whole movies, I used to love them. So
I do have to thank you guys for going through that, so I didn't have to. I appreciate that a lot. So I didn't have to.
That's all we had. That's all we had.
I had to go through none of that shit. It's gonna be so crazy. Like in about 20 years from now, when this newer generation is enjoying Feige's X-Men and Fantastic Four, and we're just looking at them like, you don't even know what we had to go through for you to enjoy some shit like this, do you?
Yeah. I say that about the Ninja Turtles generation. I'm like, you don't know what I suffered. You know what I mean? Dude, I watched the Thing cartoon where he used to just bang two rings together, turn it to the fucking thing.
Ring, do your thing.
Yes, dude. Yes.
I don't remember that.
Yes.
Oh my
God.
Yeah, so thank you guys for crawling so I could walk. I appreciate it. All right, let's head to our final topic of the night. And this one was improvised by Jaydee, and I appreciate it because it was a smart idea. But for this one, we are going to be talking about video game characters that we would like to see made into figures. I want to open that up a little bit more, Jaydee. I'd even say, even if they have been made into figures, but the figures aren't even like they weren't good,
Okay.
For example, Assassin's Creed came out with 3.75 figures.
I didn't know that.
I hated it. They were just poorly designed. They were just not good. To me, like when you tell me the main character is an assassin, you would think he'd be fully posable, right? Like you're doing a whole bunch of stuff with this assassin, right? It wasn't. The legs just went like this, and that was pretty much it.
Who did that? Was it McFarlane or no?
No.
McFarlane had the big ones, right?
I'm like, yeah, he had the bigger ones. I don't think he had the 3.75. I could be wrong, but I don't think he did. There's not many McFarlane, many figures McFarlane does that I'm like, you struck out on that.
Right.
But those 3.75s were garbage. But I'll kick this off. I would actually like. There's two that I would like. One of them is Sly Cooper.
Sly Cooper.
You remember Sly Cooper, the raccoon that had the hippo?
The thief.
Right, he was a thief.
Right, from PlayStation.
Sorry, no.
Yeah,
he's a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance to just look at the game trailers, whatever. Sly Cooper was such a fun game. That was right around the time where Ratchet and Clank was like really the thing. I just never got into it, and then when I saw Sly Cooper, I was like, that's me. I can get into that. Which actually made it a lot more interesting when they made Uncharted, because it's kind of like, oh, this is Sly Cooper, but if he was a person, like essentially if he was a person. But yeah, Sly Cooper, huge fan. I always said if they did a animated movie, you definitely got to call Bradley Cooper. He just has a thing with raccoons. Like he can make.
Bradley Cooper should play Sly Cooper.
Yes, Bradley Cooper is Sly Cooper. And like I had this whole thing planned out, and the hippo, I can't remember his name, Joel. If you do, please let me know. But
name too.
The hippo I wanted to be voiced by God, what's his name from? He was in Mission Impossible and The Boys. He played the geek's dad. Oh, it's Paul something.
Oh, Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg. Sorry, it wasn't even Paul. Simon Pegg. Yes, Simon Pegg to me is one of those underrated guys that kind of scoots right in under the radar. The man has made some gold, and he deserves a lot more credit. I never thought I could enjoy a secondary character in Mission Impossible till he showed up, and I was just like, I like this. Good job, Tom. I like that you did this. But yeah, I would like to see that. I would like to see that developed into figures, because I think that'd be really cool. The whole world looks amazing. I definitely want that Joel, when they went into time, that van that they were in.
Yeah.
Van as a vehicle where I could put them in. So that's
It's a-
one.
It has an old 1940s aesthetic.
Yep.
Because that's kind of how it looks, with like animals.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I really love it. It's
really good. Jaydee, I really do like when you get a chance, do check out the trailer for the game.
Okay.
I really do think it's something that you would go, oh, this looks pretty cool.
It's Murray was his name, and Bentley was the turtle.
Murray and Bentley. Yeah. Oh no, I mixed it up. I would want him to be Bentley. I would want him to be Bentley. Yeah. I messed it up.
Weird.
Yeah, I would want him to be Bentley, and I would want. Remember when the chick came into the picture? The raccoon. I would want that to be Ana de Armas.
Okay, I like that.
Right. Oh man, goodness gracious, that would be the first time since whoever voiced Lola Bunny in Space Jam that I would just be like,
"Whoa,
you get it." like, all right, you're doing stuff to me. Relax. But no, the main one I want to go with is and this was tough because I desperately wanted to go with Max Payne, but I feel like anytime we talk video games, I'm always pitching.
You mean the Punisher?
Yeah, essentially, yes. They did. They did just copy the Punisher for it. My bad, Pete. But I want to go with God of War. The fact that is not a 3.75 fully posable complete set is very frustrating to me because that I imagine would have to sell out almost immediately.
I'd pick it up.
Right, exactly. Especially if they catered after the very last game that just came out. I would buy that in a heartbeat. I don't know why they don't incorporate figures to games more. I don't know why they don't think that we're not interested in that, but they really think we're not. And I'm like, you're missing the boat. I'd probably buy more of your video game figures than your actual video games. That is how dedicated I am to these figures. So God of War is what I'm going with. God of War and Sly Cooper. Those are the two that I would love to see turn into figures, specifically 3.75. That way, if you want to add vehicles, accessories, it's just easier to put in hands, take out of hands, whatever. Jaydee, I'll go to you next. What video game would you like to see turn?
I guess I keep deferring to my age. So my stuff is going to go back to Nintendo, the original Nintendo. I got two because I think one was Nintendo, one was for the Genesis.
Do it.
And I want to see Rygar as an action figure.
Oh my God, Rygar!
Right? Yeah, Pete, I love you, kid. See? Oh man. I want Rygar, dude, in a heartbeat. You know, he had that mix of Conan, but he threw Captain America's shield, and it was on a whip that would come back to him. That was great. You know, I missed that.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, you're looking it up?
I looked it up, and I'm just like, that was definitely from a time long.
Yeah.
There's a newer Rygar because I remember buying that game.
Yes.
It was really the easiest game I ever played in my life, but it was still fun. He only had like 3 different fucking shields in it, but I really loved that game. It was a really fun game.
So Rygar's one. The other one would be Strider.
Wow. Strider, I like Strider.
I've never seen Strider as a figure or anything like that, you know? And then, as an honorable mention, did they ever do Castlevania figures or Castlevania 2 figures?
It depends on which version.
Okay. See, I didn't know about that. All right.
There are some nice Castlevania figures. Aftermarket now is going to run you a little bit of money, especially with the success of the animated series.
Which was good.
Yeah, it was. No, it's great.
It was great.
But there were some Castlevania figures. There was Alucard, but he looked more like his Symphony of the Night version. There was Dracula, and there was Simon Belmont, and there was a Succubus too. And
who made those?
I want to say NECA.
Okay.
NECA. I'm not sure.
So they have the license then just for that size.
Yeah.
They don't have a master license for everything.
Right.
I will say to your point, Jaydee, even if they did have Castlevania figures, I want it exclusively based off of the Netflix series.
Okay.
Like exclusively based off of the looks and the characters.
They came out with them, but they're not great.
Oh, they did?
Almost like little mini figurines that just kind of like stand there.
Like PVC style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might have mild, like very minimal movement, but really wasn't that much.
You know what's crazy? No one ever talks about this. This is completely off topic. I'm going to bring it right back. Indiana Jones. I know no one liked that last movie. I know no one liked it. I get it. No arguments here. But that had a pretty good toy line. Of course. It was not a bad toy line.
They did all 3 films in that toy line. All 4 films. Excuse me. That's great.
I love that toy line. It was really, really, really good.
And you could get it cheap. Today, you could get a lot of aftermarket stuff cheap. Even that playset, that Crystal Skull playset, was pretty nice, man.
I don't
know. With the what Mayan warriors or what were they? I don't remember.
It was crazy. They nailed the Indiana Jones toy set, but completely destroyed the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
I mean, how? How did you? What? It's just what?
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
The Spin Masters, right? It was Spin Masters.
Yeah.
Because they didn't make them 1/18th. They made them smaller.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't get it. I would love to sit in the boardroom when they're discussing this and just go, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. No one will like that. No one will play with that. But I like your pick, Jaydee. I just looked at the photo,
Money in the Bank, man.
And I'm like, wow, that's wow. I would actually like Jaydee to spearhead a movie about that. Like, that'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty dope. That's a deep cut, bro. I don't think many people know about that. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. And that's why it will never sell.
But no, if you do a really good movie or a really good series, it'll sell. It'll sell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a deep cut if I've ever seen one for sure. Pete, what you going with, man?
All right. First of all, Jay, Rygar, epic pick, man. That was one of the first games I ever saw on Nintendo. My friend.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
I never beat it. So
Me neither. I had to watch the shit on YouTube, honestly. And I'm going to go with one that I also never beat. I would love to see I don't need all the monsters and everything. I just want the kid and in his little stealth suit and the friggin' tank. Give me Blaster Master.
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Figure goes in the tank and the tank is big and square and boxy.
Yeah.
Cannon. Awesome.
Nice.
I love that game.
So good. And a hard damn game too. Like that was one of the first like open world ones besides Rygar was too. And you just did not know anywhere where you were supposed to go.
No, I still the fucking one.
I'm looking here because they actually you can actually play it on Nintendo Switch. So I might try it out.
Tough fun though.
But I will say, in like the 80s and the 90s, they were always known for giving you a dope cover, right? Like a dope cover, but you couldn't play with any of those actual people in the physical game, and it would forever piss me off. Like I'm looking at it right now, and I'm like, oh, these characters look super dope. Let me see what the game looks like. It's just like a vehicle. I'm like, don't show me people. Just show me vehicles then.
There's a little guy that comes out of there. Little dude.
He does
door and then the whole game.
Which was the cover of the game that was Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone?
Iron Sword. Oh no, that's Contra. I'm sorry.
Contra. There we go.
Iron Sword was Fabio with the Conan sword.
Oh
yeah. And I got one more franchise, 2 more games to finalize this. I know everybody, they hear Final Fantasy, they think Final Fantasy 7 or one of the later ones. I hear 9 is really popular. I never played.
I like 9.
I heard that was the last one that was like really monsters and dragons and really old school fantasy. So that's probably the last one I would like. But my favorites on that line were Final Fantasy 2/4 and 3/6. And I would love to get figures from those games.
See, I don't remember those.
I've never played the games.
They're amazing games. The characters are just really fleshed out for especially Final Fantasy 6. That you've got, I think, 14 characters and everybody's got a backstory.
There's a lot of characters in that game,
Yeah,
nice.
I missed the boat on Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts when it was really big. I missed the
my
boat.
favorite guy in Final Fantasy 2/4, and you can look him up, Juwaan. Kane the Dragoon, and when you see this guy, he's got a big ass spear, this awesome blue armor, looks like a dragon.
He's dope looking.
Yo, he's my guy.
My guy in 6 was Sabin, I think his name was.
The wrestler.
Love that guy. He was a fighter. He could do like a fucking Kamehameha wave. Yeah. He was cool. Like I like that. I like that game. Was awesome. I would